Hello, sports fans. It is July 9th, 2024. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Cleats by Dre. My name's Andre Moskowitz. Yes, I'm Dre. My goal with this podcast is to talk about sports, my fondness for sports, what I see happening in the sports world today, hopefully in a way that connects with you. If done right, this should feel like, I'm your cousin, brother-in-law, nephew, uncle. We've just had Thanksgiving dinner. Cowboys game's a blowout in the fourth quarter. And you're letting me rant. Or some would say cook. You're letting me cook about something in the sports world. That's the goal. That's how it should feel. So on this first episode, I want to do two things. I want to explain my why a little bit. And also just give you a sense as to what to expect going forward in this series, the teams I root for, and in general what topics you could expect going forward. Let's start with my why. And in this section, let's focus on two things. First, my own fandom. I believe it was the dog-loving striker of AFC Richmond, Danny Rojas. He coined the phrase, "Football is life." For me, just expand that phrase to sports is life. Now, of course, I have a beautiful wife. I have two young boys, family and friends I love dearly. But the continuing fabric of my life is my borderline obsessive infatuation with sports. I coined it in my business school application essay. Yes, guys, I'm not joking with this level of obsession. As having such a strong appreciation, in quotes, for when a collection of athletes becomes a cohesive unit to overcome the competition. Enough vague terms like that. But basically, I'm a lifelong sports fan. It started when I was 5 years old. One of my first memories, the kitchen on the floor of my parents' kitchen. Spread open the New York Times, the full print edition, and just started looking at the box scores and devouring the stats, looking at the league leaders. I was the type of kid that I'd commit the win-loss standings day by day to heart, and my dad could quiz me, "Hey, how many games are the Mets back by? What's the standings?" I grew up with Sports Center repeats in the morning, what a joy, and falling asleep. Those in the New York area, the WFAN, falling asleep to Steve Summers, the schmoozer at night. In high school, I had a sports pager. Back then, this is 2002, right? They don't really quite have. Not everyone had cell phones yet, but I had a sports pager. I had a beeper. I got sports scores. I broke news on trades to my teammates, my friends. Now, it started when I was young, my love of sports, but even my older age, right? It's continued on. Now I resort to catching games on my phone, on YouTube TV while I'm doing the dishes, but I'm still catching games. I'm still keeping up. A big theme throughout my sports fandom is the front office side of things. I actually remember back, this is dating myself again, in 6th grade, we got America Online. You youngins look that up. I started different leagues, and I was a commissioner in chat room leagues. I would hook up my NBA Live on the Sony PlayStation or the Triple Play Baseball. I'd recruit 29 other guys that they'd each get a team. I'd share the rosters. They'd conduct trades. I'd conduct free agency. I'd conduct the draft. I'd plug it all into either my laptop, the video game, or on the PlayStation, and I'd report out the results. And this was the most fun I've ever had. It continued on. I played Sim Sports, a famous college basketball simulator game, recruiting full college teams, playing in March Madness tournaments, and eventually, of course, out of the park baseball is a big one that many of you might know about, where take over the full ownership of a team. So I really love the strategy behind sports, and you'll see it come through in my episodes. Now, in terms of being an athlete, I have played. I'm not just a watcher. I played, former athlete, high school sports, soccer, basketball, baseball. I was MVP of our basketball team as the 5'9" point guard senior year. Yeah, we went 4-12, but I tried hard, and I love the play. Currently, my sport is arc softball, as many the older generation does. I play mean left center field, and I have a hitch in my swing right now. So if anyone has tips on how to convert a baseball swing to a softball swing, a 34-inch softball bat, open. Please hit me up. You could use that. I'm in a rut. I will get into more details on the teams I follow a bit later because you're going to want to know who I'm going to talk about a lot on these upcoming episodes. But next, next part of my why, there's something going on in the sports media landscape right now. I think something's missing. There's this clear hot take, shock jock culture that, it gets the clicks. It's what it's become. And I actually do have a huge appreciation for that type of sports media when it's authentic and effective. When the storytellers are geniuses. The Stephen A. Smiths. Love to watch that. But pardon my take, guys. I am an AWL through and through. I really hope Jerry O'Connell someday joins them full time. That's what I'm secretly hoping for. And of course, I devoured the sports guy, Bill Simmons columns when I was in college. But there's too many imitations of those guys out there. Those guys I mentioned, they're one-of-ones. They're built different. They are the hymns. What's missing, I feel I could bring this back a bit of return to the good old-fashioned analysis, evaluation, and points of view on a wide range of topics in today's sports landscape. Kind of mixing in 3 equal parts. First, new school analytics. I'm a Moneyball guy. Fell in love with that book. Fell in love with the movements. I've always been a math guy. I think there's a lot more that analytics can tell us about the game, maybe even just confirm what our eyes are seeing. It's obviously changing the sports landscape. I mean, the NBA is all about the three-pointer now. Baseball has been all about walks and on-base percentage for a while now. So these changes are happening whether you realize it or not. I'm going to talk about it. Second, but I want to balance it, right? It's not just about the numbers, right? There's a respect for tradition and legacy and history and what the eye test tells me. We got to balance those two things. It's not just one or the other. Lastly, this needs to be fun. Sports are meant to be fun. They are literally leisure. And how lucky are we to be living in a society where we can focus so much on leisure and focus on sports. So sports has to be fun. You will never see me getting way too overly serious about sports. In terms of podcasts, I don't have any experience doing anything like this. Podcasts, writing, anything like that. I'm a former business consultant. I'm a current HR professional by day. And I'm looking forward to you all being my muses by night a bit. That's my why. But now let me give you a sense of what to expect going forward as I start talking about, we get to different episodes. I have 5 main teams, and just it's what I know. I'm going to talk about them a lot. I live outside of New York City. Grew up here too. So what I'll do is let me go through these 5 teams, and what we'll do to kind of run it along, I'll talk about my history with each one, the best live events I've attended, supporting each one or watched, and my present and future sense on this team and where they're going, because it'll come out a lot in my future episodes. Let's start with the New York Mets. I've been a fan since the early 90s, right? My history. Been a fan since the early 90s. And I've lived the torture through and through. I can rattle off a number of examples. My fellow Mets fans out there can. For some reason, the one example that's sticking in my head right now is how could Luis Castillo drop that pop-up from Alex Rodriguez in the 9th inning, whatever year that was, losing to the Yankees. And that was a middle of the season game. It's an excruciating pop-up. I don't know why that's sticking there, but torturous with the Mets. Now I think I'm lucky over the last 35 years, because I missed the 86 Mets. I was a little too young for that. I think I've been to Shea and City for the 2 most important games of the last 35 years. That's 2006 NLCS Game 7. Oliver Perez on the mound chanting, Ali, Ali, Ali. Andy Chavez with the incredible catch. Willie Randolph-Brain and Aaron Heilman instead of Billy Wagner in the 9th. Yadier Molina going deep on us. That team, that Mets team, the reason I call them out even more than the 2000, the Piazza teams, I never thought the Piazza teams would win the series. That team was the best team in baseball that year. They would have won. I mean, they had the Tigers, who knows in baseball, but excruciating. And then as I got older, I was there, Game 5, 2015 World Series versus the Royals. Harvey, Mets fans, we love to chant our pitchers' names. But Harvey was on fire. He was rolling. There was no way Collins could have taken him out. I mean, the crowd would have just revolted. And so, they blew it. They blew it in the ninth. The Royals probably would have won the series anyway, but that was electric. So those two games, got to be there live. I mean, nothing like live baseball or any of the sports. In terms of my view on the Mets right now, I'm confused. I don't know. I'm excited for Cohen. 2022 was great, ended poorly. Do we like Francisco Lindor or do we not? It's 2024. He's hot right now. We like him. I mean, it's just up and down. I don't know where to feel about this team. I'm optimistic. The Mets' ultimate neurotic fan base. I'm a part of it. Good to have an owner that spends that doesn't. But we'll definitely get into the Mets this summer and further on. Team number 2, the New York Knickerbockers. Yes. My history started with the Ewing Knicks in the 90s. I was a diehard. I once missed a Little League baseball game. No, that was a travel baseball game to stay home and watch the first Game 7 that they had with the Heat. I missed the Rocket series. I don't know. I guess I was too young. I don't know. I don't remember any of it. Games were on too late, maybe. I didn't think they had a chance with the Spurs in 99. That was a fluke and great fun run. The one good year with Carmelo was something. But overall, I mean, it's been bad. And what's been bad for the Knicks for 23 years is always been the front office. Whether it's the Larry Brown era, or Isaiah Thomas and the sexual harassment allegations, Phil Jackson being viewed as a savior, the Knicks always could get that wrong. Which, I'll jump ahead into the present, right? Leon Rose. I mean, he's the guy. He has the team around him. I've never been more confident. I don't even second guess their moves anymore. They have a vision. And I'll say the best live Knicks game I've been to was this past year. One of my buddies graciously got me tickets to Game 5 versus the Pacers. It was electric. We were wild. I lost my voice. And so overall, I mean, the Knicks had a great run this past year. I know a lot is going on. The Mikal Bridges trade. There's a lot to get into. It's a great time. Great time to be a Knicks fan. So really eager to get into that. All right, team number 3, the New York Football Giants. Yes. So my history, I'm too young for the Lawrence Taylor Super Bowls. I mean, Roddy Hampton's my first football jersey ever. Best live event, sports viewing experience, on TV. Super Bowl 42. How could it not? Incredible. Best game I've ever watched. Dogpiled with my friends in my mom's basement. My biggest play of that drive, not even the Tyree catch or the Plex catch, but the Steve Smith 15-yard out pattern that got a first down on 3rd and 12. So I go deep. That was incredible. And then I doubled down. Super Bowl 46. I was out of business school in Indiana. I went to Notre Dame. I used my student loan money to go buy tickets to that game, which was another awesome game. You always got, Super Bowls live. Incredible. Giants are my successful team. Lately, not so much. Yikes, big yikes lately for the Giants. Don't know how I feel about this current administration. We'll see. Quarterback's a problem. We'll get into it in the future, but the Giants have some work to do. Those are my 3 New York sports teams. I'm not a hater. I'll root for the Jets. I'll root for the Yankees. I don't really follow hockey, but we're dying for a New York sports championship. I'll root for a New York hockey team to win something. New York team to win anything. But Mets, Knicks, Giants, that's my triumvirate. No, I said I had 2 other teams. I dip into college. And this is the point where you're not a New York sports fan and you're already sick of me. Gear up. I went to undergrad at Duke University. I'm actually JJ Redick's year. I was his classmate in a sports finance class. Good for him, getting the Lakers job lately. I'm a diehard Duke basketball fan. It's fun. It's a strange relationship. So much success, but also what comes with that is extreme embarrassment, right? Some of the one and dones they've had in the tournament, but overall, so much success. I mean, I remember back to of course the Leitner shot in 1992. I actually was a St. John's fan, at that time. I had to convert, and I still root for St. John's a little bit. Love what Pitino's doing. But yeah, I'm Duke through and through. Best live event, any game in Cameron. I tented, I camped out. I'm happy to talk about that if people want to hear about that. Great experience. Beating UNC in Cameron. I'll go, for my Duke friends that are listening. Junior year, 2005. UNC won the title that year, but any kind of underdog win against them is incredible. Present and future outlook, it's tough. College sports in general is in a tough spot. Between one and dones in basketball and now the NIL rules, which I'm supportive of, but it's a Wild West. Unlimited transfers era. It's really exhausting being a college basketball fan right now. You got to learn a new team each year. It's hard. It's not as fun as it used to be. Cooper Flag's coming next year. That's going to be sick. So maybe some Duke content coming. And team number 5, I mentioned I went to grad school at Notre Dame. So let's hit the college football side of things. My Notre Dame fandom started in business school in 2010, the Brian Kelly era. You could go deep on that. I fell in love with college football right from the start. I mean, a lot of my buddies, really, legacy guys, grew up with it, and taught me some of the history. Pound for pound, though, college football, most diehard fans in any of these sports. We don't feel it as much in the Northeast and in New York, but, just the pageantry, the love, it's intense. And happy I'm part of it now. I wouldn't say this is my best live event, but biggest live event. Yeah, a few of us went to the Orange Bowl 2012, the national championship game where Notre Dame got stomped by Alabama. Quick side story here. Tailgate was incredible. Notre Dame fans were so happy to be there. Dance music, DJs, throwing beers everywhere, chanting, "We want Alabama, we want Alabama." We said, "We don't see any Alabama fans out here anywhere in the tailgate. There's no one here. It's all Notre Dame. We're going to crush them. We're excited." So, of course, we walk into the stadium, about 15 minutes before the game, 20 minutes before kickoff. And there they are. All the Alabama Crimson Red. They're there. They're on a business trip. We came to party. They're on a business trip. They had won already 2 in a row. I think this was going to be their 3rd title. That's when I knew we were in trouble. And then they came out and they were bigger than us. Now the horse, the Manti Te'o stories in the background here. I mean, there's a lot to unpack, but wow, we got slaughtered that game. In terms of the present and future for Notre Dame football, it's a weird one, right? They have a reputation they can't win the big one, but they've always been right on the cusp. They've consistently been top 10, top 15 for a number of years now. If Michigan football can win one, why not ND? So let's see what that comes into this fall. So that's my 5. Mets, Knicks, Giants, Duke, Notre Dame. I'll pull from there, right? I want to talk about what I know, but I'll touch on other topics too, like more national, modern topics. U.S. men's national soccer team. Is Greg Berhalter going to be around? I mean, we have the World Cup coming in 26. I'll jump into that. My dad is the biggest Rafael Nadal fan you've ever seen. He has posters of them. I'll let him hop on. We'll talk some tennis. Why not? I'll get into the business side of sports. Digital media rights. A lot changing. And even the future of sports in general, because I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I can't get them to watch sports like I used to. There's too many other things going on. So how do we get the next generation to love what we love? Or maybe they don't, and that's okay. I mentioned the NIL landscape. There's a lot there that can be covered. And in general, fantasy. Right, I play fantasy sports. I started gambling, right, legal in New York. I'm part of the Action Network. I follow some sharps. I love making futures bets. We'll bring that in. We'll talk about that too. But in general, I'm just kind of pick topics that I want to jump into. In terms of a format, what you could expect? I'm going to dabble with like an 8 to 12 minute essay format for each episode. Just kind of short and to the point. See if there's enough there. You could pop it in the gym, in the car, doing those dishes. Who knows? Maybe I'll have guests at some point. Maybe I'll do some writing too. Maybe video. I don't know. I'm new to this, guys. I'm on an adventure, and I want to give back. This is what I know. This is what I built a knowledge around. I just want to talk about it. And I'd love to interact with people too. I'd love to hear what they think about what I'm doing. what I'm saying, topics they want to hear about. So please send feedback through all the requisite channels. I'm going to be getting this up on the different podcast channels. Please subscribe. More will be coming out. In general, just thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me rant during the fourth quarter of a blowout Cowboys game. Okay, so thanks for coming along on this journey with me. I hope you get a lot out of it. Okay, thanks a bunch.